What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. So, whether it's a shocking update to you or not, it is kind of an update here from My Sports Update. If you guys aren't following him on Twitter, you definitely should for breaking news. Just tweeted about 15 minutes ago before we started this, there's a belief that the Colts quarterback Carson Wentz will probably be traded or released before March 19th. Now, remember, March 16th is the start of the new year when it comes to free agency and trade starts. So you can start doing that. That's when $15 million in base salary becomes guaranteed on March 19th. And this is also from Chris Mortensen as well. He also reported on this. So basically saying, Ari, that his future in Indianapolis looks bleak. Reports coming out, Cody, that, whether or not you're surprised by this, we were kind of wondering if he was going to get traded or not. But here's our first big kind of talking point from the national media stake that people believe that Carson Wentz might be on his way out.
Yeah. And, just to add, my friend Zach Kiefer from The Athletic also added that, the sense that he's gotten around Jim Irsay is that the $15 million, the Colts would gladly eat that if they had to get rid of Carson Wentz. Money would not be the issue here if the Colts had to move on. I think the biggest question, though, for all of us is who in the world are you going to replace Carson Wentz with right now? Does that mean that, potentially the Colts are going to make a big trade again and try to get a quarterback? Because you look on the free agent market, there's not really a whole lot there. The only other quarterback on your roster right now is Sam Ehlinger, who was a 7th-round pick this last year, right? 6th, 7th-round pick. I can't remember. Late-round pick, nonetheless. And a guy that, we can both say is not going to be your franchise quarterback. We can just say that right now. But I think initial reaction for me, Derek, and I think probably from you, is honestly a little bit of shock, because who in the world are you going to get right now unless you make a major trade for Carson Wentz? I always thought the move was going to be, and it still could be potentially, but I always thought the move was going to be you stick with Wentz for one more year, and then next year you move on from Wentz and you go try to get a guy in the draft. I think that was kind of the thought process. I think a lot of us were thinking you're going to be stuck with Carson Wentz. We even said it. We're like it or not, Carson Wentz is going to be your quarterback next year. So to hear a report like this is actually quite shocking. Because Carson Wentz was not all bad. I know a lot of times people like to think Carson Wentz was just all bad, but at the end of the day, Derek, when it came to crunch time, Carson Wentz could not get the job done. And for a team that's as ready to win as the Colts are right now, they have a lot of good pieces on their roster, still missing a few of those really key important positions. Defensive end, we've talked about, left tackle, and quarterback. Those are the 3 most important positions on the football in football that the Colts don't have right now. They don't have definitive answers at any of those positions. They don't have a dominant player at any 3 of those positions. So, yeah, I think honestly, I'm shocked by this, but maybe I shouldn't be shocked, because Jim Irsay said all chips in, right? He said he's ready to win, man. And, if the Colts feel like they have an opportunity to find a quarterback that can help them do that, and they don't feel like that is Carson Wentz, I'm not shocked by that. I guess I'm just shocked because who in the world are you going to replace Carson with right now?
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how this develops. You said about that $15 million. That would be the $15 million in dead cap that the Colts would lose if they were to trade him. Obviously, I said in the tweet, it was $15 million of his base salary is guaranteed by March 19th. If he's not traded by then, the Colts are going to be paying him $28 million this year anyway, unless they fixed his deal. So, either way, you would have lost money either way in this. Even if you ate $15 million in dead cap, probably saving yourself about $5 to $10 million by his actual contract in and of itself. So it's not really a big deal when you look at it from that perspective. But yeah, you're right. It's a matter of if this is true, and there's got to be some kind of merit to it. If a bunch of people are talking about it right now, there's got to be some kind of merit to it. Yeah, what are you going to do? What does that insinuate? Do you go out and go get a quarterback? Have you been talking to somebody already and think that there's a good chance you can get somebody? Are you gonna try to move up and get a quarterback later on? I don't know. I don't know the whole sake of this, but it's certainly an interesting development here. And like you said, I'm not shocked that this is news. I just think it's more of now we're finally getting, we heard Irsay and Ballard saying it's time to stop band-aiding these positions and it's time to start putting chips in to go and get some guys, right? Well, now we get our first big news from Twitter and everywhere else saying, hey, this is finally, maybe something might be going into motion here. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on this. Not a whole lot more to develop at the moment. We will keep an eye on it, though, and we will be sure to let all of you know if anything else develops. But I think that's it for this news specifically. Do you have anything else to add to this, Cody?
I do. I think, I kind of look at it like this. Like my parents always told me, if you're in it, so I'll use this analogy. If you're in a job, right, and you don't really love your job, you're fine with it or whatever, but you want another job, right? My parents always told me you need to have another plan in place before you move on from that job, right? And so I think in a similar way, it's kind of maybe true here with this Carson Wentz news. If this news is legit and the Colts are legitimately wanting to move on from Carson Wentz, you got to think either one of two things, in my opinion. Either they've been talking to somebody and they think there's a realistic opportunity they can go get one of these quarterbacks, whether that's Derek Carr. I know Aaron Rodgers, the Packers, there's some news coming out about them wanting to commit long-term to him. So who knows how legit that is. Or if there's a guy like Russell Wilson, whose future is very uncertain right now in Seattle. And if you feel like you could potentially trade away Carson in that deal and get, pick up that contract. Or the second thing is, Derek, maybe the Colts have fallen in love with one of these quarterbacks. Now, according to draft experts, it's not really a strong quarterback class, but the Colts have picked positions where it hasn't necessarily been the strongest positions, right? Because they've been able to find some good guys and had some pretty good success there. So maybe there is an instance here where they've fallen in love with one of those quarterbacks and they are going to make a big trade to go up and get one of these guys. I'm not certain that either that's true necessarily, but it could be one of those options. But to me, it has to be one of those two options because you can't just roll out there with Sam Ehlinger. Like this team is too good to talk about band-aiding the quarterback position to downgrading significantly the quarterback position. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like if you're going to get a guy that's worse than Carson Wentz, just stick with Carson for another year, So to me, it screams the Colts are going to probably make a blockbuster move here, whether it is in free agency / trade or whether it is in the draft. We'll see exactly what that pans out, but I think it's got to be one of the two, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was pretty funny because a few days ago, ESPN put out a report saying that they believed in the second round the Colts were going to draft Desmond Ridder, the quarterback out of Cincinnati, based off of what he did at the Senior Bowl this last week. Don't believe that's happening, but I've seen crazier things happen in the NFL. Maybe they fell in love with him somehow. I don't freaking know. I don't think they would, but we'll see what happens. But either way, guys, thank you all so much for tuning into this. Let us know your thoughts on this news coming to light, what you think, how legit it is. What does this mean for the Colts moving forward? Thank you guys again so much for the continued support. And as always, go Colts.